Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appear in our today's and as well as yesterday's in the newspaper. So let's get started with our discussion. First of all, I'll let you know what are the topics that we are going to discuss in this class, and later on, I'll be telling you like how you have to prepare from both prelims, mains, and as well as interview point of view. And at last, I'll be giving you prelims practice questions as well. So please follow this class till last so that you will be getting lots of insights related to how to prepare UPSC from this current affairs point of view, guys. Okay, let us see the topics. The first one is AI Impact Summit 2026 begins today. Modi set to inaugurate India AI Expo. Here, this article is talking about AI Impact Summit 2026. So here you may get a prelims based question regarding AI Impact Summit. So how can you get a question is consider the following statements regarding AI Impact Summit, and they'll give you 2 to 3 statements below that, and they may ask you to identify which of the statements correct or incorrect. That is a first possible question. And second possible question is applications of AI, because this article also had been released in your PIB. In PIB, they said about the themes and as well as 7 core areas where we are focusing on. And even in that PIB, they gave about the significance and applications of AI. From that part, you may get a question related to applications of AI. These are the two possible questions from this AI Impact Summit, and it is very important topic. And next topic is India adds more than 50,000 megawatts of power generation capacity. So here this article is saying that yes, we increased our power generation capacity. So you may get a question regarding thermal power or solar power or nuclear power, whatever it may be. And you may get even a question related to renewable energy in our country. And even in your environment and ecology, you will be studying about intended naturally determined contributions. From that also, you may get a question, guys. And next topic is what are bio-based chemicals and enzymes? So if you're seeing this kind of new words in paper, there is a high tendency of getting question. How can you expect a question in your prelims is recently bio-based chemicals is in use. What it refers to. Choose the appropriate option given below. And they'll give you just ABCD options. In that 4, you have to pick one. Okay, that is very important. And next one is ambiguities in the India-US trade deal. So, we are discussing about this India-US trade deal from last 1 week. So, this article is talking about challenges in India-US trade deal. I'll be giving you 4 to 5 challenges. Please make a note, and that you can write in your mains answer. And next topic is hematocytes use sleep to help maintain brain health. In yesterday's newspaper, I took 2 articles related to, one is science and technology, one is environment. So here this article is saying that hematocytes use sleep to maintain brain health. So here we have to see what is the importance of the sleep and how it is connected to the memory. And this topic is important from your science and technology from GS paper 3. And next topic is India UAE corridor is sparking a growth story. So here you have to know about map of UAE for sure, and you have to know what is this India UAE corridor is about and why we are talking about this corridor now in editorial, and you have to see what is the significance of that India US corridor of India UAE corridor. And this topic is very important from your GS paper 2 under IR and even from GS paper 2 under economy also. This article is very important. Next topic is climate change could shrink grazing area by half. That means we are going to lose our grasslands or grasslands soon. So here how can you expect a question? What is a grassland? And which is the dominant species of grass we can see normally in that grassland? We have 2 types of grasslands, tropical and temperate. You have to say exactly what is the difference between those, and you have to say examples of tropical grasslands across the world and temperate grasslands across the world. Okay, this is very important area where UPS repeatedly ask question from your natural vegetation point of view. Okay, so now let us see the article. Look at the title, guys. AI Impact Summit 2026 begins today. Modi said to inaugurate India AI Expo. Okay, here you have to know about what is a summit and what are the key highlights of the summit. So what are the points I took here? I took directly from the PIB, and there is a very high tendency of getting questions in your prelims from your PIB also. Okay, now let us see the key takeaways. So here India AI Impact Summit. It is a first global AI summit. Please make a note. It is a first global AI summit. Because of this significance, you may get a question, and India is inaugurating that. Okay, it is first global AI summit to be hosted in Global South. So here you may also get a question related to this Global South. Yes. What is a Global South? Have you heard this concept, Global South? It is a grouping of developing and as well as least developed nations. So for the first time in the Global South, we are conducting this AI summit. So because of this, very significant. So what is this Global South? Global South is nothing but the group of countries which are developing and as well as least developed. So what is this AI? Artificial intelligence, which is mainly the arena of developed countries. But even though AI is an arena of developed countries, even developing countries are also incorporating it. And finally, as a leader of Global South, India inaugurated this first global AI summit in this Global South. So because of this, it is very important. Are you understanding? Advanced technologies, normally we say that which countries will be having advanced technology? Developed, compared to that of developing and as well as least developed. But even though as a part of developing country, as a leader of this entire grouping, now India is leveraging its use in AI. And India is showcasing its power of AI to the world through this first ever AI based summit which inaugurated in India as a leader of Global South. Okay, next one here is what is the date? 16 to 20. 16 February to 20 February, we are celebrating it. We are conducting this, and it is a 5-day program. No need of remembering these dates. UPS will not ask you dates. And in this 5-day program, we are going to come up with AI related policy, AI related research and industry, and even public engagement. And in this AI summit, we are focusing on 3 sutras. Please make a note. First one is people, second one is planet, and next one is progress. We are focusing on 3 P's. People, planet, progress. People, planet, progress are the 3 sutras or foundational pillars of the summit. And in this AI Impact Expo, around 300 exhibitors are going to be there, and they are covering around 30 countries, and there are more than 10 thematic pavilions that they are going to display in this summit. Okay, why we are conducting this AI Impact Summit? The reason here is we want to create partnership with global AI ecosystem. Especially, we have different groupings like BRIC, ASEAN, and other developed countries organizations. With those organizations, we have to improve our partnership. And next one here is if you are improving partnership, what can we understand? We can understand about what kind of AI they are using and in which fields they are using, and we can understand how our AI is whether forward or their AI mechanisms are forward, so that we can incorporate advanced AI technology in our security. We can come up with AI related norms, and even nowadays we are using AI in even military related AI applications. So here, how can we use that more? So like that, we can get lots of information regarding other countries also, and it is going to be a platform where other country delegates, they can showcase their AI related things. So that what happens, we can adopt the new kind of technology in future. That is the first reason. And next one is we want to showcase our innovation. Especially we want to showcase our startups and even real world solutions, so that what happen, we can also attract investment from other countries in our country related to this AI. That is the second important reason. And this one is we have to address global challenges. What are the global challenges we have? Security issues, cyber security issues, and terrorism related issues, etc. Right? So we have to come up with integration of AI so that we can overcome this problem. And as you all know that the major problem in India is climate change related agriculture productivity, right? So there is a decreasing of agriculture productivity, and we cannot expect exactly when the rains are coming and which areas are going to get more rains or less rains, etc. So for example, if you take in agriculture, we can incorporate AI in this agriculture so that what happens, we can go for increasing of productivity. I will give you a small example. So everyone knows like ChatGPT, right? So if you know about ChatGPT and how to use this ChatGPT, so whenever if you're asking anything, if you're commanding anything to this ChatGPT, we can get the information related to what query you have. For example, if a farmer is using his mobile, in that mobile, if he is having any AI based chatbot, and if he's just want to know which pest is affecting his farm, he can click a pic or image of that affected plant, he can upload that, and he can ask like what is that exactly the disease, what is that worm name, and give me some remedies to solve that problem. If they are giving like that, ChatGPT will be giving you the names of pesticides that we can use, or like they may give you like even natural solutions to overcome that problem. So if you are having that kind of AI based chatbots, we can address the problems of agriculture. Even in healthcare also nowadays we are going for telemedicine. Have you heard about this telemedicine? It is nothing but online consultations. It had been become very famous from this COVID-19 time. So even we can use AI based things in healthcare and even in education as well, so that we can overcome these challenges which are present in this developing and as well as least developed countries. So these are the reasons why we are conducting this AI summit 2026. And what is the significance? Please make a note. This may be a mains based question, or this may be a prelims based question. In prelims, you may get in this questions in this way. Consider the following applications where we can use AI. They'll give you 5 to 7 and they'll give you to identify the correct one. Okay, so this kind of questions are asked by UPSC. In UPSC also questions will be lengthy sometimes. If you see your PYQs, entire one side, one row of the page will be covered by a single question. You will be getting like that questions minimum 3 to 4. You are complaining that what are the question I am giving is lengthy. In UPSC that is far more lengthy. So you have to habituate. Okay, we don't know. We can't predict like how UPSC can give paper exactly in that year. Can we? No. So you have to habituate and you have to be ready like whatever the paper may be, I will be ready to fight in the examination hall. You have to prepare in that way. Okay. So now let us see the applications of AI. The first one is AI in healthcare. So if you are using this AI in healthcare, we can improve access to the healthcare. Now everyone is having mobiles, right? So by using this mobile, we can have our consultation with a best doctor. And this one is we can improve this AI based healthcare outcomes. How? If there is any pandemic or if there is any disease which is spreading, we can give easy information for the people like what to do and what not to do. And next one here is we can improve healthcare access to this rural and as well as underserved areas. And in remote areas also we can go for diagnostics. For example, do you know we have lots of portable devices which are there in the market, like wearable watches. If you wear that watch, if you want to check your BP, if you want to check your heart rate, if you want to check your pulse rate, it is now very easy. And even SpO2 also we can measure by this wearable devices. So if you are having this kind of devices and if you are promoting in the areas where the disease burden is more or hotspots or underserved areas, obviously we can increase the healthcare access and as well as healthcare related outcome as well. Okay, next one here is we can go for AI powered telemedicines and we can use chatbots and symptom checkers. Which kind of symptoms you have? If you're typing your symptoms, it will be giving the diagnosis. It may be this and this disease. So what are the do's and don'ts for this kind of diseases? So we can create symptom checkers and we can connect rural patients to the doctors so that we can reduce the traveling time and as well as cost for transportation. Okay, and next one here is AI based medical image analysis also we can do. For example, if there is a patient who is suffering from TB, he will be going for sure chest x-ray. So he can upload that image in this AI based chatbots, and he may ask like, what is the meaning of that image, or which kind of disease I am suffering from. So like that, what will happen? This chat GPT or other AI based things will be giving what is this report means. Okay, which kind of disease probably that patient is suffering from. We can use this AI, and we can also go for predictive analysis, and we can support disease outbreak forecasting, and we can also go for personalized therapies. Personalized therapy is nothing but for example, I'll give you one thing. So if a patient is like 70 years of age, very old person, and he's having diabetes, he's having BP, hypertension, and even he is a chronic alcoholic, that means he will be taking this alcohol every day, and now he came to hospital for one disease like TB. So whatever the medicine will give for that person will be different compared to that of another person. For example, there is one more person who came to hospital whose age is 20 years, and he is not having any BP, any diabetes, or he is not a smoker, or he is not an alcoholic. The treatment which is given to this 20 years guy will be different compared to that of this 70 years guy, because here we have to take into consideration hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and we have to see how the metabolism of this person is happening, and this metabolism of this person, it will be different, right? So based on the dosage, based on the selection of medicine, everything will be different. That is called as personalized treatment. By using this AI, we can go for personalized treatment, so that what happened, there will be decreasing of risk, decreasing of side effects and adverse drug events and reactions. That we can do by using this AI. That is the first thing which is mainly said in this PIB itself. And next one is AI in agriculture and rural economy. AI is enabling smarter data driven farming practices based on the data which is available. For example, what is the health of the soil, which kind of minerals are more in that soil, which type of soil is it, whether it is alluvial soil or laterite soil or red soil or black soil. So based on the data, we can go into enhance the productivity. How we can go into enhance the productivity? It will be advising a farmer like which kind of crops they can grow in which season based on even monsoon forecast. And what happens? Obviously, it will improve farmers' income as well. And next one is it will predict sometimes weather. It can also predict pest outbreaks, irrigation needs, so that it will be guiding a farmer in a right way in their agriculture. And next one is we can go for AI powered drones. We are using drones now in this agriculture for spraying of pesticides, for monitoring of water levels, and in this precision agriculture, right? So we can use this AI powered drones, and we can monitor crop health, and we can reduce the waste. And we can use satellite imagery as well, and weather data support for harvest forecasting. So this kind of prediction models will help the farmer to reduce the losses. Okay, that is the thing. And not only that, please make a note, we have certain AI based tools can be used by farmers. First one is Mosam GPT. You have to use this kind of examples as a value addition in your answer. Mosam GPT. Next one is Kisan E-Mitra. Mosam GPT, Kisan E-Mitra. They will provide real-time localized agriculture information in regional languages. Okay, so whenever you're writing your mains answers, you have to write value addition points. If you are not, then you may lose your marks. So you have to use this kind of examples. First one is Mosam GPT, next one is Kisan E-Mitra AI tools. And next one is we can also use AI in education learning. You know what you are doing now. If I ask any question, what Akash will do first? Open ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT. Even in examinations also sometimes students, what they will do? Scan the questions and yes or no, is that happening or not? You know better than me what is happening in your class. Whenever I give any questions of mains answer to write, again the same thing that you will do. Yes, so here in education also we are using certain platforms, so that what happens, individuals based on the individual student needs, support the slow learners, advanced students. So based on their capability, there are certain AI based tools which will be helpful for the students to learn the concepts. And next one here is, we can also convert content into regional languages. If you want to if you're scanning anything and if you ask it to convert into regional language, yes, it can do. And this one is AI based tutoring systems we have. They will provide 24/7 support for the students. And please make a note, we have certain platforms like Diksha platform. It will use AI to deliver relevant and accessible educational content across diverse learner groups. In education, we have Diksha. And this one is AI in finance and commerce. AI is also strengthening our financial security, financial inclusion, service efficiency, so that we can detect fraud, and it can also secure digital transaction real time. And this one here is AI based credit also will be helpful for providing loans in unbanked and underserved populations. Okay, and we can reduce waiting times in the bank so that we can increase the financial inclusion. And this one is AI in governance and public service. AI can enhance efficiency of public services and as well as accessibility of public services. And you know, in AP now everything had been made on WhatsApp. So whatever the thing that you want, just you can open WhatsApp and you can pose your query. So like that, if you are having that kind of separate AI based apps for this kind of governance in our country, means obviously it will improve the service delivery process in our country. Okay guys, and this is the image I directly took from PIB. It says about 3 sutras, 3 fundamental principles. First one is people, planet and progress. So in people, they are saying that AI must serve humanity in all diversity and has to preserve dignity and ensuring inclusivity. So we want to enhance humanity. We have to ensure preserving of dignity of the people. On one side, we have to enhance inclusivity as well. And on planet, we have to align with environmental stewardship and sustainability. Whatever we are doing, for example, why we are focusing on environment is, if you are using AI, obviously it will require more amount of energy, as we discussed in earlier classes. For example, if you are using your laptop which is fully charged, and if you are using normal things in your laptop, for example, if the uh, charging you can use that laptop for 20 hours, for example. If you are using AI based, you will not use that same amount of energy, not more than 5 hours, because AI require more and more amount of energy. So here we have to keep in mind always, whenever we are going for AI, we have to focus on environmental sustainability as well. And next one is progress. AI's benefits must be equitably shared, advancing global development and prosperity. So everyone should be getting progress by using this AI. So these are the 3 important foundational principles related to this AI Summit 2026. Okay, now let us see the next article. Look at the title, guys. India adds more than 50,000 megawatts of power generation capacity. Okay, what is this article talking about? Think, guys, and tell me what will be the possible questions in your prelims and mains. So if you have gone through this previous year's questions in environment and ecology, many a times UPSC asked questions related to renewable and non-renewable energy. First thing. And next one here is there is also one question related to this intended nationally determined contributions. And there is one question related to this Paris climate deal. All these are related to this energy only, right? Can you tell me examples of non-renewable energy? What is meaning of non-renewable energy? What is renewable and what is non-renewable? What is the exact difference? Renewable, non-renewable. Okay. Okay. If once the resource is exploited, we cannot regenerate it. We cannot replenish it. It's called as non-renewable. Examples of non-renewable energy resources: fossil fuels. What about renewable energy examples? Solar, wind, tidal, geothermal. Yes? Okay, now let us see here. So this article is saying that for the first 10 months, okay, for the first 10 months from 2025 to 2026, around 50,000 megawatts of power had been generated. More than 50,000 megawatts of power had been generated. It is around 11% more compared to that of previous financial year. Now you guys tell me why we generated more. If there is demand more, then only we will generate more. Yes or no? It is a basic thing. If there is no demand, will we produce more? No. So here what can we understand here is there is increased demand for electricity. Now you guys tell me what are the reasons why there is increased demand for electricity. Using of more and more electronic gadgets? Yes or no? Even one mobile phone is not enough. We want 2 or 3. Next, whenever we are getting new series of phones, we will be having a tendency of changing that series. Next. Yes, we are moving towards electric vehicles. Very good. Next. Yes, electrified trains we are going for. Very good. Next. Electric vehicles, electrified trains. Next. Yes, subsidized electricity in agriculture. That is also one important reason. We will not think about electricity bill. 24/7 this bore pumps will be on only. Next. Come on, think electricity. Because of climate change, yes. Heat waves are increasing. Because of this, we need to have more and more air conditioners. Now, yesterday Shivaratri done. From today onwards, summer will be starting, right? Then what happens? Obviously, there will be increased demand for electricity. Next. Either it may be harsh temperature, for example, extreme cold, we need heaters. If we are having extreme heat, we need again ACs. Next. Using of AI more and more, and recently one report said that India is a top in using of AI based things. What happens? Obviously energy we require is more and more. So because of this, what happened? There is 11% of increase in electricity production compared to that of last financial year. So can we say that if there is increased use of electronic devices, advanced technology, are we moving towards increasing of technology adoption in our country? Do you think? Yes or no? Okay, now let us see this article in detail. So India has achieved major milestone in its power sector, adding 52,537 megawatts of electricity generation capacity in the first 10 months of financial year 2025 to 2026. So what is the potential impact of this addition? What can we say? Yes, we enhanced our electricity so that it can boost our economy. For example, if so-and-so company is producing power, will it give for the free of cost? So what is per unit cost of electricity for household? I'm not asking about commercial. We have two types of meters. Do you know? One is household meters, one is commercial meters. So what is the difference between this household and commercial meters? Have you heard about this crossover? Our electricity department will be getting losses because of this crossover subsidy. Have you heard about this crossover subsidy? So we have commercial meters and we have household meters. What is per unit cost? For household it is 2 rupees and for commercial it is more than 5 rupees. Do you know commercial spaces, shops, for institutes like this, we have to pay electricity in commercial because we are using for something related to business. Household means for our house daily activities related things. For example, I will be paying commercial price for this electricity here in academy. In my home, I will be paying household related things. Okay. So here what happens here is why government is providing low cost for this household? Why? For example, let us take here it is 5 rupees per unit, here it is 2 rupees per unit. And government is providing same electricity. There is no changing of quality and quantity of electricity. Yes. But why government is providing less for household and more for commercial? What is the reason? It is business, it is not business. Next. Why that much difference? It is more than twice. Think about this case. You have to know this basic thing. Okay, now in electricity department is facing lots of problems related to this crossover subsidies. So what are the amount they are collecting here? They will use it to subsidize here. Okay, so because of this, there will be very less profits for this electricity department. So now you have to think why this difference is. What is the reason behind this difference of pricing matters related to commercial and as well as household meters? Okay, think that. Okay, now let us see here potential impact. The first one here is enhanced power availability supports. What happens if we are producing more and more? We are going to provide more and more electricity for domestic purpose and as well as for industrial purpose. So that what happens? We can boost industrial sector. If you're boosting industrial sector, obviously we can generate more and more employment in industries and as well as in this electricity related sector as well. And next one here is we can reduce the risk of power shortage, especially in summer season. If you are from rural areas, you will be knowing about this power shortage only in this specific time, 9 to 1. Do you know this kind of things? Only in this time the power will be there. In afternoon times, there will be no power. In that time, we will suffocate and will come outside and will try to stay under the trees in this summer season. I don't know whether you have this experience or not. Only this time. And if the bulb is off, they'll say that yes, time is 10 o'clock now. So that much sharp they will focus. So actually what happens here is if you are producing more, there will be reduced risk of shortages of electricity. And this one here is it will also stabilize tariffs for consumers and as well as businesses. And next one here is we can also move towards renewable energy so that we can reduce our carbon dioxide emissions. And next one is environmental benefits also we can see. Actually, one important point which said in this article here is we are improving our energy capacity from this renewable energy. So because of this, what is happening? We are reducing the carbon intensity, carbon emissions, and it will also support our climate goals, and it will improve our air quality, and it will align with our global clean energy trends. And this one here is grid and reliability improvements. So because of this increased capacity, it will address peaking demand, especially during the summer. Obviously, there will be peak demand and we can go for upgradation of our technology, everything. Okay, that is the thing, guys. Yeah, see this article and you have to make notes for this. What are bio-based chemicals and enzymes? Have you heard about this word enzyme? In our body also lots of enzymes are produced. What are those enzymes? Yeah, they are the proteins which helps in the faster metabolic process. What enzymes exactly will do is they will break down the complex organic molecules into simple organic molecules so that whatever the food we'll eat, that will be absorbed easily. Okay, you know about these enzymes. Now you guys tell me bio-based chemicals means what? Bio means life. Bio means life. Bio-based chemicals means what? Just tell me what do you understand by this word bio-based chemicals? Biofortification, not exactly. Next. Enzymes in living organisms like plants. Okay, can anyone modify this? When will make extraction of? Extraction of chemicals from plants. Okay. Yes, of course, it is right. So write down bio-based chemicals or industrial chemicals. Bio-based chemicals or industrial chemicals produced using biological feedstocks. Biological feedstocks like sugarcane, corn, starch, or biomass residues or biomass residues through fermentation or enzymatic process. Through fermentation or enzymatic process. Through fermentation or enzymatic process. Very, very important. How you will get a question here is, recently bio-based chemicals is in use. What it refers? They are industrial chemicals which are produced from biological products. What are those biological products? Sugarcane, corn, starch or biomass. Write down the examples. Bioalcohols. Examples: bioalcohols, solvents, surfactants. Do you know surfactants? Surfactants, emulsifier like that. If we want to mix this oil and water, if you are adding the surfactants, we can mix them. Emulsifier. Have you had this mayonnaise? So how it is like creamy, how the dissolving of oil and water and egg is happening because of this kind of surfactants. Surfactants. Okay, next one, write down applications. Where we'll use them. Plastics, production of plastics and production of plastics, cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, food processing, textiles, pulp and paper, textiles, pulp and paper. Okay, now you understood what is bio-based chemicals, enzymes and examples and where they are used. Now why India is prioritizing these biochemicals? Do you know about this Godrej? Have you heard about this Godrej? Famous for? What is this Godrej? Huh? It's coloring hair dye. We have different colors in that, brown, black. Okay, so here if you see, where India is standing today is, India prioritized bio-based chemicals and enzymes as a priority area under Bio E3 policy. Please make a note, Bio E3 policy. Bio E3 policy. Bio E3 policy. And companies like Praj Industries and Godrej Industries are leading in this bio-based chemicals. They are making these chemicals from this biological products and we are using that. And okay, so here why India is focusing on this bio-based chemicals and enzymes is, India is having a large agriculture base. So from this agriculture base only we will be getting all those biological waste, everything, right? So because of this we are going for fermentation of that and we are using that in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, dyes and even vaccines. And actually if we are dependent on this waste of agriculture, we can decrease our dependency on our imports from other countries. So because of this, India is having a huge potential of this agriculture and agriculture related bio waste. So we are focusing on these areas to improve the different sectors in our country. So because of this, India is focusing on this Bio E3 policy. So see about what is this Bio E3 policy, guys. Okay, that's it. And see this next article, ambiguities in the US-India trade deal. What we discussed so far related to India-US trade deal? Agreement, reduced tariffs from 50% to 80%, and recently US released the list. In that they excluded agriculture products so that our Indian farmers are very happy. And after that, what we discussed? Yes, textiles. Textiles are also going to be get benefited from this deal. How this Bangladesh is getting exemptions, in the same way India is getting exemptions. What are the two things that you have to remember? First one is, if you are importing yarn from US, on that, if you are going for processing, manufacturing, everything, and if you are exporting the goods to US, on that zero tariff. And even handmade goods also 0% tariff. So that whatever the leverage which is enjoyed by this Bangladesh again will be taken over by India in US market. That is the thing that we discussed. Okay, now let us see what are the challenges given in this article. First one here is, yes, we are talking about tariff commitments. Now they decrease it from 50% to overall 18%. And next one here is, there is differing interpretations between India and US. What exactly is covered under this agreement? There is no clear-cut clarity. So this deal had been signed 1 week ago, and yesterday, day before yesterday, we were getting articles related to what exactly the things are products in this. So there is no clear-cut detailed interpretation regarding the products. That is the first challenge. We don't know tomorrow which kind of products will be exempted or which kind of products are included. There is no clarity. There is a first challenge between India and US. And next one here is strong opposition from farmers and rural groups over agriculture market access. Before this list had been released, the thing was, it was impact on agriculture and farmers used to do this protest. And this one is what they are saying, we have to reduce purchasing of oil from Russia, and we have to go for purchasing of oil from Venezuela and as well as US. And oil refineries, the owners of these oil refineries are shouting, how can we process that oil? They are having high acid content, high sulfur content. We don't have technology to do that. We will be getting losses. And even transportation cost is very high. Yes, 1 barrel cost of importing from this West Asia is $1 only. But if you are getting from US or this Venezuela, it will be like $4.5 for same 1 barrel. What is happening here? Import cost is going to be increased. That means in future we are going to face inflation in our market. That is the next challenge. And next one here is, in this deal, they said that what is the target of trade deal? $500 billion commitment. So here it is very huge target, and sometimes it is even unachievable target between India and US. The number is not a small number. That is the next one. And next one here is, if tariffs are decreased, the one more weapon US can use to reduce the trade here is non-tariff barriers. They can show sanitary and phytosanitary reasons to limit Indian goods to enter into US market. And even we have issue of dumping, rice dumping related things between India and US is still existing. That is also one challenge. And next one here is oil purchases, I said, right? And next one is GM modified crops. India is not allowing to import this GM modified crops related produce. And again, that is one problem, guys. Okay, and even digital trade and data localization rules also US cannot follow. Because of this, it is also one cause of concern between India and US related to this trade deal. So these are the 5 to 6 challenges that you have to remember for sure. Okay, let us see the next article. See this title, guys. The UAE India corridor is sparkling a growth story. Okay, you have to know what is this India UAE corridor. And next you have to see about IMEC project. Already UPSC asked question 2025 related to this IMEC. And next you have to see about map of UAE, very clear this year, especially West Asian map. You may get any type of question, guys. Be thorough with that map. Okay, now let us see what is this India UAE corridor and why it is in news. India UAE corridor is a key strategic initiative, and it is boosting our connectivity, trade and investment. And this corridor gained momentum in 2023 to 2026 through Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, investments, and as well as IMEC project. If you say about this corridor, it is connecting India. So in India, which are the ports we are connecting? We have Mundra Port, Kandla Port, JNPT Port. I said one day to make the list of major ports on western coast and eastern coasts. Have you done with that work? Very good, guys. If you do that, you know about what is JNPT, what is Kandla Port, and what is Mundra Port, in which states we have these ports. Do that work. The work you have to do is This is our western coast, this is our eastern coast, right? Okay, see states like this, and in which state which ports we have. Make a note of it on both west side and east side, and you have to see what is the speciality of that port. In 2020 there was a question in this way only. They gave the port and it is famous for what? And this time government is focusing on improving of waterways. Sagarmala project, and even in the budget also they said that we are going to increase inland waterways connectivity. That means you need to know about the ports, you need to know about important rivers. Okay, so in that way you have to connect, guys. So do this work. States, ports, and famous for what? So here in this India UAE corridor, we are connecting Mundra, Kandla, JNPT ports directly to UAE. In UAE, we are connecting with 3 ports again, that is Jebel Ali, Fujairah, Khalifa ports. So here there is also one more chance of getting question in your paper, like they'll give you country, they'll give you ports. I said you have to see the string of pearls related kind of things. For example, Sri Lanka Hambantota port, Pakistan Gwadar port, Iran Chabahar port. So like that you will be getting this kind of question is also possible in your UPSC. And this one here is they are focusing on improving of agreement, especially they want to go for increasing of non-oil trade as part of comprehensive economic partnership agreement which had signed in 2022. And they are focusing on improving of trade, food security, digital or virtual corridors, energy and logistic links. And do you know about this IMEC project? India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. India is trying to reach Europe via Middle East. Okay, they are linking India with UAE, Saudi Arabia, and then to Europe. So here we are focusing on rail connection and as well as road connection, ship to rail, clean energy and digital cables. So in this all these ways we are connecting India with Europe. That project is called as IMEC. And why this project had been created here is to increase, why this corridor, India UAE corridor, is to increase bilateral trade and to provide faster and cheap alternative routes for India-Europe trade. And this one is to counter China's One Belt, One Road initiative, Belt and Road initiative. And this one is we want to address food and energy security in this region. Okay, and we want to increase our exports to this Middle East, Africa and Europe. For all these reasons, we had this project IMEC. And what is significance of this? We are going to improve our economy, we are going to increase our trade, we are going to increase our production, our GDP finally. And next one here is we are going to improve our ties with different countries so that we can maintain global supply chains and we can enhance our India's role with Europe and as well as Middle East. And we can improve our trade efficiency, faster transit, lower cost, we can secure the chains. And this one is we are going to have a broader impact. India can improve its leverage in these Middle East country related groupings. Like for example, we have Gulf Cooperation Council. Okay, like that, guys. See this next article. Okay, this article is saying that hematocytes use sleep to help maintain brain health. So what happens is, I will tell you in a very simple way, try to understand this. So whenever you are wake up, whenever you are doing your activities, what happens here is your brain cells called as cortex glia, they will build lipid droplets. Lipid is nothing but fat. So fat accumulation will happen in your brain whenever you are doing your work actively in the daytime. So what happens whenever you are going to sleep in the night time? During the sleep, what happens? Whatever the immune cells which are there, hemato means he means nothing but related to your blood, right? So your blood cells, especially your immune cells in the blood called as hemocytes, they will bring this lipid droplets which had been formed in your brain into this blood-brain barrier, and they will try to remove that lipid droplets during the night time. So what happens here is, if your body is not removing this lipid droplets in your brain, what happens? Initially droplets will be formed. After that, what happened? They will be forming a thick layer of the fat. They are called as flakes. That will cause this Alzheimer disease. Alzheimer disease is nothing but memory loss. Have you seen in many movies, women will be shown with this Alzheimer's? They don't know like what about them, and if they are coming outside, they will be forgetting the way to go to their home, and sometimes they even cannot recall their names, family members, phone numbers, everything, right? So here the major reason here is many people, they will be having this problem of insomnia. They cannot sleep well during the night time. So whenever they are not having the proper sleep, what happens? Your lipid droplets will be there in the brain only, so that they will be forming the plaques, and that will develop as Alzheimer disease. So here, whatever the work you are doing, whatever the stress you are taking, you need to maintain minimum 6 to 7 hours of sleep, whatever it may be. So if you are maintaining the proper sleep, then only your memory will be sharp, or else that will lead to poor memory. Okay, that is the thing which mainly said here. If you are not having proper sleep, if there is increasing of metabolic stress, and if there is poor, that will lead to poor memory and as well as shorter duration of life. Even the lifespan will be decreasing. Okay, that is the importance of sleep. Clear? Okay, next article, let us say this. Climate change could shrink grazing area by half by 2100. So here there are certain climate projections which says the temperature, rainfall and humidity until 2100 year. They are saying that 36% to 50% of drop of grazing area worldwide. Please make a note of this data. Grazing area worldwide is going to be affected. So because of this, what happened? Whenever this grazing area is decreased, who will be getting, which society will be getting affected more? Pastoralists. Who are these pastoralists? They'll move from one area to another area to graze their animals. So here the data is saying that around 110 to 140 million pastoralists, they are going to be get affected, and 1.4 to 1.6 billion grazing animals will be getting affected. In anthropology, you can add it as an example, or to increase your value, you can add this example. Okay, 36 to 50% of grazing area will be decreased. 110 to 140 million people are going to be getting affected, and 1.5 to 1.4 to 1.6 billion animals are going to be get affected. And they are saying that in Asia, the grazing suitability is projected to expand inland. So in inland, that means within the Asia itself, there is going to be increasing of this kind of impact. Okay, so because of this, what happens? That will lead to increased poverty, increased hunger, gender inequality, political fragility or political instability can happen in future in different countries. Okay, now you have to see about, yes, it is because of climate change only, increasing of temperature, heat waves, everything, we are going to reduce this grasslands. So what kind of steps we can take to decrease this kind of impact in the future? So think about this, guys. And now let us see the prelims questions. Today's questions are very easy, simple questions. Bio-based chemicals are mainly produced from fossil fuels, renewable biological feedstocks, only synthetic process, plastic waste. Next one, AI Impact Summit 2026 is as significant as first global AI summit hosted in. This kind of questions will be also asked. Now you know that, so that it is very easy. But an examination, if you are not aware of that, that will become a critical question. So like that, there are many simple questions in this way also. Hosted by whom? Where? Why? From where we can produce that? So to make you aware, so we are giving this kind of questions also. Every day if I give tough questions, your mindset will be like, always UPSC will give tough questions only. No. So around 10 to 15 questions you can get this kind of questions, like only ABCD related option based questions. So you have to be thinking in that area also. Okay, that's all guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much guys for watching, and please do like this class and share this class, and do subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy. And one more thing here is recently CSAT classes had been started here, and today is the 4th CSAT class. And if you want to join that course, please do contact us on this number 8074765513. And I wish you all the best, guys. Thank you so much.